Hi, we're here today with Pam Haze, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Budget, Finance, Performance, and Acquisition at the Department of the Interior. Hi, Pam. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for doing our interview series. So how did you get here? Which we're very proud of, and we like to get all types of people from all different backgrounds that work at the Department and Fish and Wildlife Service to tell our viewers how they got here. Okay. So let's get started. How did you get started in the government?
Okay, so I think I'll say Fish and Wildlife Service had a very big part of my career and my success. But I'll back up from that. In 1975, I started working for the federal government. I started with the Bureau of Outdoor Recreation. I was in college and I had seasonal employment with them during the summer, during holidays. And I was a GS3 and I was a typist and I took shorthand and I worked there for several years. Excuse me. And then I got my first job, real job, with the Bureau of Land Management. I spent a year out in Oregon doing forestry work and hydrology. I'm a biologist by background and training. And worked with the biologists out there. That was a year job, a when actually employed job. So after that job was over, it was over. I came back, went to graduate school, and then I worked again, came back to the government, eventually got into the Fish and Wildlife Service after a couple different jobs, and I found my home, I thought. I loved the Fish and Wildlife Service, the biologists, the leadership, very inspirational, people that felt the way I did. I started in the fisheries program. I had a great mentor there named Joe Webster, a fellow that went to Region 6. After that, there was a restructuring when Frank Dunkel came in and became the director of the Fish and Wildlife Service. I went into the budget office, and I've been in budget ever since. I found my real love is budget. I came to the department in 2000, got to work with Bruce Babbitt, Dirk Kempthorne, and Secretary Salazar, of course, and I have had the most wonderful career. It has been gratifying, challenging, exciting, frustrating, and hard at times, especially now with the budget problems, but it's been really fabulous, and I have learned from great people. I mentioned Bruce Babbitt. I brought some visuals here.
Oh, good. Just hold them up to the camera.
So Bruce Babbitt, great secretary. John Berry, Assistant Secretary, Policy Management Budget, loved working for him. Dirk Kempthorne. Molly Beatty, the director of the Fish and Wildlife Service.
I'd love to get a copy of that. She has some great sayings.
Fabulous. Yes. Sam Hamilton, who was a very good friend and a roommate for a while.
Really?
Loved him. And of course, Secretary Salazar, who I got to work for all 4 years. I was here when he came in and here when he left, and I dearly loved working with him. It was really quite wonderful. And many, many other people I've enjoyed working with. Cathy Tynan was my boss in the budget office. I learned immense amounts from her. John Tersice, who was the director of the department's budget office. So I have really been fortunate. I think things to think about. I've had a lot of really good opportunities where people have offered me jobs, but I think that's because I worked really hard. I never said no. I was always willing to pitch in and willing to help, and I made the most of those opportunities. And that, you know, to me, that's a big life lesson. Keep a positive attitude. It can be annoying, but it can also be very helpful with people. And hang in and be tough and keep trying. So
that sounds terrific. Well, congratulations. You've had a stellar career.
I have.
One question though. So you've run the gambit of a lot of different secretaries, a lot of different bosses. So what are some of the differences that you've seen in the department and at Fish and Wildlife Service? Some changes that you've seen along the way.
So we were talking about that a little bit before the filming started, and I think a good one is the whole climate of acceptance of diversity, acceptance of women, acceptance of different cultures. When I worked for the Bureau of Land Management in the 70s, I had a boss who was actually said it was against his religion to have women working for him. and he was
Wow.
directed to supervise me. I mean, it was a really challenging environment. There were many men and many people who were accepting of working with women and the diversity, but a lot of people were not. And I think a lot of it was lack of experience, fear, lack of knowledge, and I think we've so broken through that. There's still a lot that should be done. It's exposure, and it's welcoming those people and getting to know them. Everybody's a person and everybody's individual, and everybody has something to contribute. So
You also mentioned
important.
technology.
Technology is huge. So imagine in the 70s, we had no email. We had really very little in technology and computers. I had a typewriter, a Selectric typewriter that had like a white correcting tape on it. Typing letters from the bureau director, and you couldn't make mistakes. It was pretty horrible. And then we've evolved now to where we all do our own typing and our own correspondence. It's hugely different.
Yes.
A whole different atmosphere and a whole different way of working. I find it much more exciting. I mean, you can get your stuff done quickly. You have much more direct control. It's more collaborative. It's a great environment. I think the other thing I would point out, and I think I saw this in the Fish and Wildlife Service when I joined Bureau of Land Management. I worked for a while for U.S. Geological Survey, and in fish, I felt like when I was in Fish and Wildlife Service was very much battling to be recognized and to be respected for their role in federal projects, their role as the adjudicator of taking care of conservation and fish and wildlife. I feel like that's better now. I feel like fish is accepted at the table, they're listened to, their advice is respected. So I feel like this department is very balanced in the way it views Fish and Wildlife Service's role, the role of the other bureaus, the role of development, the role of oil and gas. It's interesting, and I have been fortunate in the job I'm in now, and in budget jobs you get to see a broad spectrum of people and programs. So you get to kind of have that perspective.
That's good to hear. I've seen that too.
Good.
Now I'm going to ask a tough question here. What do you want to be when you grow up?
What do I want to be when I grow up? So what I want to be when I grow up, actually, you asked that, I'm going to be retiring not too long from now. I would like to be a writer, actually. I'd like to write a children's book. I have no idea what I'm doing. I've never tried it. I'll probably be a complete flop, but I'm going to try it. And that's what I want to try, and travel and do all the other things you do when you retire. So enjoy
that's
life.
Terrific.
Yeah,
that's terrific.
So I'm looking forward to that.
I want to be an artist.
Oh, there you go.
I do oil painting,
Good.
not very well, but
good.
So
it's important to have those aspirations and activities outside work, and work-life balance, which I've not always had. So something important.
Good. Well, that's something to strive for, then, isn't it?
It is. I think the other question you were going to ask me is what would I do different?
Yes.
So what I would do different, back when I was in the Fish and Wildlife Service, I had an opportunity to do a detail up on the hill with the House Appropriations staff, and I think I was a little fearful, a little hesitant, didn't want to leave my comfort zone, and I didn't take it, and I regret that now. That's one of the very few opportunities I've had that's come along that I haven't taken advantage of, and I think I would have learned more, I would have been better. So that's one of the few regrets I have in my career. So I think every one of those opportunities you get, unless it's a real stinker, you should take it and go with it. So.
Well, those are good words to part on. Pam Haze, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And for your wisdom and for your service to the federal government.
Thank you.